Um, Welcome to Creativo Corner, where we interview new and exciting artists, one of which we have with us today. Today we have Sarah Skogland. She was an artist with us at our Milken Made in America event here in LA back in May. She has some really exciting floral series that she's working on. Sarah is a former dancer from Norway. By way of New York. She's now in LA and she's transitioned into making these huge, large-scale floral paintings. Welcome and excited to have you on, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to start off with hearing about how you got into painting. I know that you were a dancer before, so obviously like bodily expression and moving your body was your original form of art, if you will, and now you moved into painting. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've always sort of was painting and drawing as a little girl. And it's just always been something that I've done. But then decided to become a dancer, and that became, it is an all-in, occupation. And so I did that for years and years and years. And, I always had this pull to want to express myself through painting. And eventually, after, performing in New York and all over the world, I eventually came to LA. And I got, coming from the stage in New York, you really go so deep into your characters and the whole process. And then coming here, I came here because of a guy.
Classic. Classic.
I was just kind of done with like New York and everything, and I wanted to just be with this man. And it was in my late 20s, early 30s. Somewhere around that time of my life. And I just really needed to go deeper. And coming here, everything's like very like commercialized, and it's like I got an agent, and I did a bunch of movies and TV shows and commercials, and that was sort of the thing that I was starting to just go on all the time. And it just became very, kind of fake in a way, because it's like, oh, we need a blonde with long legs, and they line you up, and so like, and then that's sort of what it is. And it's just like, it's not that interesting, after a while. It's just very repetitive and doesn't give you a lot as an artist. So it actually helped me move into what I really, really wanted to do, which was painting. And I had the ability to just really go for it because I lived in this big old loft, and I just started painting. And then eventually it became full-time, and now it's been going on for 12 years.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah, thank you.
And what drew you to the large scale painting? I know your pieces are enormous. It's like 4 feet by 3 feet.
Well,
and even bigger.
But what was the first question?
Like what drew you to the large scale size?
The large scale.
Or did that evolve?
Yeah, no, I think so. My larger pieces are 8 by 8 foot. So 96 by 96 inches.
I knew it was bigger than me.
Yeah, they are big. I think it's because I was a dancer, or I'm still a dancer, but I don't perform anymore because it's really in your soul. It'll never go away. But I think the reason why I like the large scale is, and also the way that I work, is I put the canvas on the floor, and I don't use a brush. I pour paint, and I can access the canvas from all corners, all around it. And I think that has to do with my background in dance, because as a dancer, you like to move your body through space, and it's very organic, and it's very very connected to the room that you're in and everything around you. And so for me, having the canvas up on the wall with a brush just feels so contrived, and it's just I get in my own way, and I've like eventually, after many experiments, I just came to this thing where I like started working flat on the floor and pouring paint, and it's more organic and it's more flow, and yeah, I think that's more in line of like how I like to access my inner in a very real way. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I don't even know if I answered your question.
No. I mean, it makes sense that you can work on a larger piece if it's flat on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Because you could just like pour it, right? Like,
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of like having to spend so much time with
Oh
the
yeah,
brush.
so we were talking about large scale. I
Yeah.
think it's just I have a need for space. I think that's why I prefer large scale.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
part of the dance, like
Yeah.
you take up space, so the
Yeah.
painting also takes up space.
Yeah,
right?
and maybe it's because I'm used to being in the studio and I'm used to being on stage, and it just feels more, I don't know, at
Like-
home.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and your pieces, I mean, what drew you to the flowers, at least in the last series?
Yeah, it's something that I didn't want to work with flowers, and it, you know, in my previous series, it just kept coming out, and I was like, no, I don't want to work with flowers. I'm going to do this, and I was avoiding it, but it kept sort of showing up, and you know, I was in a period of you know, where I was just overworking everything, and it just wasn't working, and eventually it just showed up one day, basically, and I just was like, okay, well, this is something that I can work with, and I had to like slow down because I was going to do all this other stuff to the painting, and I was like, oh my God, there's something here, and okay, we're going to work with flowers. Okay. So, you know, it's just, and also I'm trying to understand why I'm so drawn to working with this sort of expression, and I love flowers. I love nature, and I feel like I am nature. We're all nature. We're all part of it, and you know, the flowers are teaching me to sort of look at life in a different way, maybe, and like, you know, they're so unapologetic in their expression and limitless, and that's something that I think I'm studying as a woman, you know, in my own expression, and it's sort of like where I'm headed to. You know, you have all this patterns and traumas that you go through in your life, and you just start shutting down, you know. And I think I'm in the process of like opening all that up again, and for me the flowers maybe represent that. And my last series, which is called Black Abyss, and I'm working with black mostly, and I think that is a reflection of me just going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into my subconscious.
Yeah, I feel like the flowers being black is something I'd never seen before, actually.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you know, last time we spoke, you said to me that you felt like some of those darker paintings were almost violent. And I really reflected on that. And I think that's interesting because, you know, we live in this world today, and there's so much violence and so much abuse and so much, you know, just chaos, and maybe they represent that too. You know, it's you know,
It's like a realistic flower, right? Like it's like symbolizing like not only the beauty of the flower, but like the reality of the world that we live in.
and it's really dark right now, you know, but connecting to nature and connecting on, I go to walks go for walks every day with my dog on the beach, and then I go through the canals, and it's just such a beautiful place to be and connect with nature, and it really stabilizes you. It's good to just really disconnect from all that and just connect to nature, and which is what I'm trying to do, you know, just be in that presence.
Yeah, totally. Makes sense. Makes sense. Wow. Yeah, no, your flowers they're violent, but they're beautiful at the same time, right? Like, I think you capture both.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, and it's almost like it's like enveloping you. So what you're saying about nature, like when you know, I was recently at the Grand Canyon, like when you're in something that's like a really beautiful, like nature and impressive nature, you feel like you're immersed in it. And that's how you feel in your paintings, because they're so huge. You know, an 8x8 painting is bigger than you. And at your recent gallery exhibit, you know, where you had your opening, it was just like, you know, you're standing next to the painting. The painting is like, you know, 3 feet above your head still. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
So you're also like immersed in your painting. So, you know, it's like a full immersion experience.
Well, I mean, I've also done diptychs and triptychs with the 8x8, and so they're, you know, 200 and something in length.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I wanted the viewer to experience is that they're walking into the painting, and they're immersed in all these flowers. So, and I think that's maybe also why the large scale really works for these flowers.
Yeah, like the dystopian Alice in Wonderland flowers.
But, you know, they're also called the abyss of flowers. So it's like you just, and it's that sort of thing of like the infinity and the eternity and the cycle of life, because the way that I work is they're all circular. Like it's always a circular movement, and, you know, analyzing it, I think it has to do with just the cycles of life and the cycles in the universe and the infinity of it all. And, you know, we're part of a bigger system. It's like we exist in this universe, and there's so much more, and there's like this abyss, you know. And I think they represent that too.
Yeah. Well, I guess in life, in nature, there's a yin and a yang. So you're getting whatever the dark side is, and maybe the next series will be the light side of the flower. You don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I also really admire your discipline. I know the last time we spoke, you said you're very disciplined about going to the studio, right? Like you make sure you're there every day, like working for like a certain period of time, right? How did you develop that? Was that from the dance background?
I think it has to do with dance.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's, you know, it's so ingrained in me having to go to class every morning. It's the first thing you do. Your whole life as a dancer, it's you go to class, and then your day begins. So without that, you know, that's like your anchor.
Right.
And then you go to rehearsal or jobs or whatever. And in the evening you perform, but with you know, moving away from having that practice, you just kind of left to your own devices, and it's really weird. You know, you just have all this time. So it just became something that I had to do. I had to show up every day, because it would just anchor myself into what I was doing and making it real, you know. And so then that has just developed more and more and more, and now it's every single day. Yeah. And mostly because I can't help myself. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for sure there's days that are difficult. Sometimes the painting doesn't work, or sometimes you're not feeling it, but even if you just show up and spend time looking at your paintings, or, you know, cleaning your studio or whatever, it still helps. It still makes you focus, and you can keep going. And sometimes you kind of have to just take a vacation too.
For sure, for sure. Is that how you say you developed your technique that you had? Like, it was like the discipline of just like going and like being there for a certain period of time and trying out different things. Just that structure.
You know, it's when you start out, it's really difficult not to look like someone else. And that's been my biggest thing, is to find what my thing is. You know, like my niche. What's my true expression through painting? And because you have all these incredible artists that you're surrounded with, and you look up to them, and they're our mentors. And it takes so much work not to look like that, you know? And that's been really, it's just so hard to just kind of find your voice within all this. Because there's so much good art.
Of course.
But you can really tell, oh, that's that guy's painting, or that's woman, you know, that's her painting. Like, you can really tell when people really make it, why they made it. You know, because they have that very strong expression, and that's their style. And I've wanted that for myself, and I've been relentless in finding that. And so that's also why I would go every day for years and years and years and years and years, and just do my own thing and try and figure out what works for me. And I think the flower series is probably what is the most true to what I'm trying to get out into the world as my expression.
Did you have to disconnect from, say, like looking at other art pieces, or did you have to disconnect from taking in other types of art to find your style?
In the beginning, I would look at everything. And I go through periods of time where I really go to lots of galleries, and I look at lots of art, and I can look at lots of interviews. And but yeah, there was a time where I just had to like completely just shut it all out and go deep. And my meditation practice is, without that, and my spiritual practice, I don't think I would be where I am today without that, because, you know, there's just, like I said earlier, so much noise and like input everywhere. It's and you're just so part of it, because we live in today, and it's just, you're always looking at the stuff, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And you're comparing yourself and all this shit. It's just, it's so easy to disconnect from your purpose and what you have to say with all this stuff constantly coming in. And, you know, and you can get so hooked on it. You know, it's scary.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It is an addiction of sorts, like all of the whatever it is, like intake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. So now that you've found the flower series, do you think the next series will be something similar, something different? I mean, it seems like you found your true expression, your true voice through this one. So do you think it will be like more flowers? Like have you found your inspiration for the next one yet?
I don't have any inspiration for another series. I think it just sort of evolves.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was working with colors before. Now I'm just I've been doing the black and white. And I've just made 7 paintings in the last few months, and it's well, maybe more than that, but and I've been so invested in that, and I think maybe I'm starting to go back to more colors. But I don't know. It depends. We'll just see what happens. Usually the paintings will tell me what to do. Okay. You know, it's sort of like, I try not to be too much in the way of that.
So in the flower series, you have the purple, you have a red one, and then you have the black, right?
Yeah. So this year it's been all about the black.
Right.
Yeah.
So the purple and the red came first.
Yeah. So the first one was rust, and it was monochromatic. That was the piece that made me stop and say, okay, there's something here. Stop working, you know, like stop overdoing things. And that led me into doing more and more of the monochromatic, and then eventually at the end of last year I did a black painting, and I was like, oh wow, this is something that I'm really interested in. And I wanted to go deeper into that, and so I've been doing black paintings all year.
Wow.
And now I'm going back to a little bit of color, but it's still black on color.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then I think the paintings will tell me.
So you've clearly been through this like journey as an artist. So do you think that you'll continue creating?
I think that I will always paint.
Yeah.
I would love to do installations. I would love to work with other artists.
When you say installations, you mean like some sort of like 3D or like sculpture?
Sculpture and maybe like a whole room installation. I'd like somewhere down the line and get dancers involved.
Ooh.
There's so much that I want to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have a real vision for it. I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a clear vision, but I know that there's something, I can see that there's so much more. But painting is something that I love, and I want to do it, and I have to do it. But I would love to just have it evolve into bigger things, you know, like installations or even movies, you know, not like feature movies, but like, you know, use film and photography. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, the 8x8 painting is not enough. It has to be bigger.
Yes.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to, you know, the young artists that might be listening? I know you've been in it for 12 years. You've been dancer, now painter. What would you say kept you going when you were, you know, struggling to find your voice, or you were like stuck somehow?
Just keep going. Yeah, you just show up even if you don't feel like it. Keep showing up, and that comes from like also my background in dance. You just, no matter what, just show up. Show up, and eventually you'll get there. And with art, I mean, painting, it's the same thing. Just keep showing up and do the work, even if the work isn't good.
And I know you just came off of a show. You were part of the Creativo event, and then you had your own show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else coming up this summer? Anything that you're...
Well, for summer, I'm going home to Norway. But for fall, there are some cool stuff happening, but I don't want to talk about it yet.
Ooh, okay. Exciting.
Yeah.
More flowers on the way?
Yeah. We're not done yet.
Amazing. Woo. More black flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. But black on color this time.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm working on the red right now with black on, which I'm going to go to my studio right now. And it may not work. Sometimes they don't work. You know, just you have to start all over. But yeah, just we'll see.
Yeah, very cool. Anything else that you'd like to share with the audience about you? Anything else that, you know, we should know that we don't know about you as an artist?
I don't know. That you don't know about me. I love food. I love wine. I love to travel. I love design. I've designed a few pieces with my boyfriend, and we're gonna get married soon. So soon he'll be my husband.
Aww.
Yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Sarah. We really appreciate you. Can't wait to have you at another event.
Yeah, I would love to.
Love your art.
Oh,
love your vision. Like, the flowers were beautiful. We'll definitely link all of your socials down below. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Sarah K. Skogland, and I have a website, sarahkskoglandart.com. Yeah.
Amazing. We'll link everything down below. Everyone, please check out Sarah. The flowers have to be seen in person, so if you're in LA, please check out whatever Sarah's next show is or wherever gallery is showing her pieces. You have to see them in person. The 8x8 is very different than just looking at it on a website, I swear.
Yeah, for sure. They are. They are.
Beautiful pieces.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Over and out. Woo.